Hi everyone, welcome back to Chamber of Chess. Today I'm showing you another game from my Lichess account. This one was the first game I bookmarked there, and the reason is that I opened this account in 2017, but I started playing only this year because Chess.com took a lot of time to pair me with opponents, and I decided that it's going to be better on this one. This was a kind of game that I really liked in this kind of original opening and the classical kind of way I kept overplaying my opponent. Uh, there are some different variations about the opening. E3 is the weak move because Engine really preferred playing d4 and going for this. I mean, they call it gambit. Whenever you sacrifice a pawn, it's called gambit. Accepted gambit because black accepts the sacrifice. But even in this position, white has a great play. One of the ways is knight c3, and then taking the center with e4. Alternative way might be a4, and we're kind of keeping this b pawn from supporting this pawn, and later knight a3, queen c2. So at the same time, we also take the center on e4. e3, castle, and she really prefers accepting the sacrifice, 95, and gives one of the possible variations. This move is very interesting in terms of sacrificing an exchange, but usually these positions are considered really good for black because white pieces are very passive as for now, and black queen got the diagonal. Potentially white bishop can take up some spots over here since I have no longer the white square bishop to protect my king. And castles, let's say, with a potential attack on h5, h4, knight g4, those kinds of things. Very standard. I'll even say symmetrical development because all pieces look exactly the same. Obviously, I'm trying to cause some pressure on the queen side. And again, queen side, it's called because we initially got a queen on d1 and king on e1. So this half of the board is a queen side, and this half is a king side. 7, queen b3, knight d7, a4, that's fine. Rook fc8. So rook b1 is a logical move in terms of just getting up the files to myself. And also, rooks are really good over here, especially when you put the rook in opposed to the enemy queen. It causes really good pressure for the enemy. This is a slight inaccuracy. Knight f6, queen d1, and that's the one way we could have continued our game. Bishop f1, very strong move in terms of putting all my pieces toward this part of the board. Knight, pawns, bishops. I mean, in this position, my pieces are supporting my pawns on the queen side. Queen d8. Queen c7 would have been safer, I guess. Although the position is already not that pleasant for black since I have a protected and passed pawn on c5, and he might cause some kind of counterplay with his a pawn. But here, I mean, I guess like always, uh, pieces activity always plays a much more important role than just material advantage. So if you have active pieces, they might compensate even a queen. I remember the game I saw Vasily Ivanchuk playing against Sergei Karyakin in 2010. I might show you that game sometime. There, Ivanchuk just sacrificed his queen for a pawn, but got extremely active with his pieces and ended up beating Karyakin in that game. I guess it was rapid or something. d4, queen d8. So here, black queen already had a few moves when he's just wasting them, going back and forth with his queen instead of developing his other pieces. Knight e6. And what I also like about this game that I didn't really have any serious inaccuracy. Maybe very last move I could have won easily, but I really like everything about this game, how I played it. Here I'm already winning a pawn. And yeah, potential threat was knight a5, but still I just walk away and there is nothing serious. Queen a4, a very good move in terms of strengthening, enhancing my positional advantage and activity, because here queen really does nothing and he's just, in the way of his pawn in terms of, interrupting the connection between rook and pawn. Here, rook is always very strong behind his own pawn. At the same time, queen is taking care of some of those squares over here. B5. Now bishop is taking up this strong diagonal, and b6 is somewhere that my pawn is gonna go later. Attacking, not exactly attacking, but taking control of e7, so queen is temporarily paralyzed. Rook c1. I was threatening rook c7 here. He played bishop f8, queen b3, queen a7. This is actually a serious inaccuracy that I could have used by playing bishop c7. But again, when the engine shows +6 and when he shows +4, it really doesn't matter. Because if you already see how you're gonna win, it's always much easier for you to just follow the plan rather than looking for alternative decisions, especially when you are like getting out of time. I got 3 minutes, he got also 3 minutes, and you really don't want to see everything. You just want to follow your plan and be 100% sure that you're winning. Very nice move in pinning the enemy knight. I really like the final idea. Rook f8. Engine really prefers playing queen e7. I saw this, but I really didn't want to let him check me one more time, although here, absolutely no way he can defend the checkmate threats. But since I already calculated, like I said, I saw this variation, I wanted to follow it, rook f8, and there is nothing he can do about this. So if he just moves, I could go for a queen e7, but just to be on the safe side, I could have just taken the rook, and it's an x-ray motive. Obviously, my enemy has to resign here. That's how the game ended, and I'm going to share some more with you next time.